The train headed for Sunset City will be departing soon.
Okay, shut up. Okay, right. Welcome, everybody, to Sunset City, the Sonic podcast for the modern and classic age. With me today, we have Nick.
Are you sure about that? Because I'm not sure about that.
We have Cirrus.
Hi, Pup. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks, buddy. How are you?
Nobody fucking asked.
Oh. And,
He
Wayne.
literally did.
I don't remember that. I have short-term memory loss.
He's trying to ape me at my own game. He's trying to gaslight.
We're not very funny. Yeah, we're not very
I
funny.
said, yeah, don't watch this show. Watch one of the funnier ones. And Wayne.
The only good thing about this morning is how bitter my coffee is.
Alrighty then. Well, it's been a very slow news week. There hasn't been a lot going on. Sonic-wise. Not really much to report or discuss today. So I don't know. Do you want to just do an episode about like Ovaltine or something?
Did you have your Ovaltine today?
I haven't had any Ovaltine today. We don't actually have Ovaltine in the UK. We have a very similar thing called Horlicks.
I was going to say that Ovaltine sounds like a very British thing, but no, it doesn't. It just sounds like a very colonial days.
It's just
We need at least 5 tablespoons of Ovaltine in the children.
I was gonna say, if a word could sound elderly, that would be it.
Oh, 100%.
Were you just talking about how it's just Boomer Facebook at that point? Ovaltine's a word that belongs only on Boomer Facebook.
Isn't Ovaltine just pretentious hot chocolate?
No, it's not. It's like it's like Maltesers. It's malty.
It's
sounds
made of,
like a
All right,
poor
so
man's
it's
hot chocolate.
pretentious hot chocolate.
No, it's malty.
No, pretentious.
It's
It
not
had to have
got
a French
chocolate.
name.
It's not even
if
got
it was-
chocolate in it. Like, it's,
yeah, there's no chocolate in it. It just tastes.
Is it?
It looks and tastes kind of like it, but
You know
it doesn't.
the inside of a Malteser. You know the it's that.
I don't know what.
Like malt? You're saying that's literal malt. Like
Yeah,
there's
it's
just
malt.
malt mix.
Yeah, it's malt mix. It's nice.
Ovaltine. Huh. How about that? I might actually try it now. I didn't know it was malt.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I might be wrong, but it's nice.
I guess
Would
we'll
you-
find out.
So,
We'll go down to the general store and pick us up some.
My
Nick's gonna
understanding.
do the thing he did with spam, where he's just gonna be like, "All right, guys, I'm trying it for the first time." 5 days later, I'm trying something different with spam again today, everyone.
I'm really becoming my own in the old man YouTuber phase of my life. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have a whole fucking YouTube channel dedicated to just eating frozen pizza.
Spam and Ovaltine, the channel.
I'm still gonna think of it as a hot chocolate alternative.
The stupid shit that makes this guy laugh.
I'm old. It's funny dad humor.
He's always like, "Oh, Pup's a funny guy." And I'm like, "But am I though? If this is coming from you."
You just all right. So I compliment you, and he still has to be a little bitch
I
about
hate
it.
compliments.
Oh
You,
no!
me.
Why does everybody in my life hate compliments?
I also have very low self-esteem, so I need to be complimented from time to time.
It's fine. I will
need
bully you, and then I'll
constant
cover you with a lot of
reassurance.
aftercare, baby boo. Don't even worry about it.
It sounded.
get out the
Why did
talcum
my
powder.
brain fill that in as I'll cover you with a lot of acid?
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
just
so
like,
we have a lot of 145 people listening in right now, and I'm sure they wanted us to talk about Ovaltine and bullying Pup.
Well, yeah, there's no Sonic news.
Well, since we got a lot of people in here, is it time to start talking about the subject of uncut pingus?
Should we just actually talk about Sonic Frontiers?
you know,
Yeah.
Yes, all right,
No.
but Nick,
well,
don't you
I think
have?
we can. I
don't
think
you
we
have
can milk
something?
this joke for at least another 10 minutes.
Don't
Yeah,
you?
I was gonna get into it when we got the conversation going, but apparently we're just gonna keep this stupid joke going about pretending like Sonic Frontiers doesn't exist. Which, the more I say it out loud, the less I want to treat it like a joke and just get off Twitter and pretend it doesn't exist.
It's not a real game.
Not yet.
Yeah. Not yet.
It's a myth.
No, but like if you guys were with us the other day, we did do a live stream of our reactions to it, and I'll admit I was very tired. I was very distracted, but for some reason I got it in my head, and I think it was just because I was so desperate to say like or think that they were changing the cutscene models because I've always hated the last few since they've used these models. I've always hated those. I was so desperate for them to be like, okay, they're just going to really up their game with storytelling in terms of how they set their models and everything, and they technically did. But the trailer we saw, I was like, there's no way that's CGI. There's no way. And then I watched it, and then I got into a big thing with Pup about it, made a big tiss about it, just really wouldn't let it go. And then after I got a little bit of rest, I watched it again, and I was like, Nick, what were you thinking?
I mean, if we really,
what were you thinking? So I'm sorry, Pup. Pup, I am now on air taking the L, and I didn't mean to disrespect you, but you're right.
Nick L.
I will at some point during the show take back all of it and get into a screaming match with them. But for now, I'm sorry.
For now, the
you were
reparations have been made.
right.
Relations between the East Coast the West Coast and the UK have been resolved.
Thankfully, guys, the Revolutionary War is finally over. You're welcome.
I'm not going to lie, though. Oh, sorry, go on, Wayne.
If we really want to be assholes about it, even the in-engine cutscenes are CGI, because that's literally just computer-generated graphics, so I mean...
pre-rendered was his whole argument.
I think we can...
And it very clearly was pre-rendered when I actually watched it.
We can take Wayne's
I'm curious if they're
going to
be pre-rendered in the actual, final build.
Yeah, they won't be. Basically, I mean, there might be some, but, in some of the footage... We've seen a cutscene of Sonic approaching Amy and being like, Amy, is that you? And it's literally an in-game version of that bit we saw in the trailer. So
yeah,
I do think that they are going for fully in-game, which is, I guess, a little disappointing because I always enjoy
faster.
I always enjoy the CGI cutscenes. I thought they did a nice cinematic quality to Sonic 06 and Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah, but if you're going to do CGI cutscenes where it's just pre-rendered character model stuff, there's functionally no benefit to it.
Yeah, I mean, that is a point. It's like the Sonic Unleashed opening cutscene, for example, was doing a lot more than what these cutscenes are. And I guess you can make a case of oh, I would like it if we could have another cutscene like that, but at the same time, I kind of feel like that's the cutscene, you know? Even if they did do new CGI cutscenes, would they ever really measure up to Sonic Unleashed's opening?
I mean, there was a pretty distinct difference between how Amy was portrayed in both the pre-rendered and the in-engine cutscene from the demo.
Yep.
That might lead us to assume that, honestly, both could exist within the game, and the pre-rendered one we've seen is later down the line as Amy is progressively looking more digitized. Whereas in the demo footage, she looks pretty normal.
Or there's another option, which is just the pre-rendered ones are reserved for the Switch version.
It could. Well, I mean,
that would that would make the Switch one to get, huh?
Yeah, and what Pup pointed out, and I've had a developer friend actually kind of support this too. Is like Pup said. I mean, we can see the patterns. This is still the same Sonic team that's been making the last set of games, and regardless of all the new stuff that they're doing here, there's some very clear, consistent things that are fairly industry standard. And one of those is, you make prettier pre-rendered stuff for promotional material. And Pup pointed that out too on the stream last time too. And I think he might be right. I want the Infinite and all the bad boys showing up during the Forces.
What can I say?
Promotional
He's a very clever cat.
I just really want Wayne to be right.
Apparently, Jesus.
I want Wayne to be right because Wayne being right means that we're getting a lot more stakes in the story. But I don't think so, and I hate it because it's just if Wayne's right, I'm happy, and if Wayne's wrong, I'm sad.
I should also say that that's not me making a prediction. I'm not sold on the idea that what I said is the case. I'm just it's a possibility.
Yeah, theorizing. Yeah. And I would love that too. The stuff we've seen from the demo footage, it looks Yeah, I'm with everybody else. Like, yeah, the pacing's a little bit better, the cinematography's a little bit better, but it is still just the giant, stupid duck, fucking like clown hands and shoes models that we've always had,
It is.
and they still look ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. So
We have seen.
it's more the same. It's fine.
We have seen some subtitled dialogue as well, and at least we can safely say that the dialogue is a lot less fucking insufferable this time so far.
Yeah, and Certified has a great point here. But CG cutscenes, it might be held to account for customization options, the day-night cycle. And as I had a deaf friend tell me too, and this is where I was just getting all jumbled up here, because yeah, this is the point of just general in-game cutscenes, is like just doing all of that, like making the models and then messing with them. Like, it's just so much more expensive and so much more work to send off like everything to make it pre-rendered CG shit. So it would make more sense if it's all staying in engine. I just really wanted the in engine to be much more impressive than it actually was.
I'll also
feels like Forces again, but that's not like
it's
wouldn't
whatever.
say
It's not
that,
gonna
like,
make or
it's-
break it. Yeah.
on the bright side, like, I think the characters' movements are a lot less stiff and robotic like they were. I mean, the thing is, like, even
Yeah.
by the standards set by Colors, Generations, and Lost World, Forces' cutscenes were very robotic looking, and I think they were very quickly put together. This at least looks a lot more natural. There's some nice camera angles going on. I really like Sonic's new model. Now, I'm not referring to that in reference to the cutscenes, but we got that render of him in his Corone DLC outfit. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, Sonic's model looks really nice outside of these funny Corone cosmetics.
I need to find a way to get access to the Corone crossover stuff, because like I'm pretty sure it's going to be Japan exclusive, but I need that.
You know,
Just
when I
pre-order from Amazon Japan or something.
when I saw when I first saw Sonic in those shoes, you're gonna hate me for this, Wayne, but my first thought was it looks like he's wearing the colors of the map flag.
oh no.
Oh no.
I thought he looked like a One Piece fan.
Those colors look a lot more subtle on the actual Corone because there's plenty of other colors in there, but on Sonic with his simplistic color scheme, I'm just like, oh god, Sonic is doing the nonce rep. Brilliant.
God damn it. Because I think they're even doing like something in the promotion where Corona actually like recorded voiceover work like for the game and stuff.
So hang on though.
You may want to give some
everyone.
context to everybody in the
No,
chat.
no. Look at the chat here. Like they're a little bit confused about like what you guys are naming here.
Yeah, so
What is-
that's what I was talking about.
What
Like
is her name?
Is her name not Corona?
it's not Corone.
I thought it was Crone.
What
We're
is-
talking about the VTuber. We're talking about the
Just tell
VTuber,
us
right?
what the fucking name is.
We're talking about the VTuber.
Yes, we're
right?
talking about the VTuber. Who
Yeah,
else are we
Corona.
talking about?
No.
I just
I've
said-
only ever heard
Corona.
it
I just
pronounced
said
Corona,
Corona.
so
Wait,
like
wait. So hang on. Is it Corone? Because everyone's saying
it's
why...
not Corona.
It's not Corone.
What is it then?
I didn't even know we were
Corone.
talking about the VTuber. I was
I
just looking at the chat.
Corone.
I have only ever heard her name pronounced as Corona.
Okay, Corone it is.
Obligatory virus joke.
Or maybe
Yep.
it's Coroni, but I don't think in Japan they really pronounce the NE like that.
No, usually not.
So it's
That'd be great though.
So it would be, yeah. I don't think if it, in like an actual Japanese pronunciation it would be called Coroni. If somebody wants to prove me wrong, I'm fine with that. But like, I've only ever heard Corone, and that's
Look,
what I'm going to
let's-
be saying
let's
until
just
I'm proven
pronounce-
otherwise.
Let's just pronounce it Korosha.
I think it's obvious that she is called Crunk in the club, and let's just carry on.
Okay. God damn it. All right,
So-
her name is Clanone.
I pronounced Coron City.
Yeah, I just saw that. Colony. Maybe this that. I don't know, but fuck it. Who fucking cares? Oh my god.
Yeah, who
VTuber
cares?
fans because
So-
they're angry.
So
Get a
real
life.
quick, everybody, since we usually do super chats at the end of the show, but just because we usually have a whole lot of them, I'm gonna catch us up real quick because there are a couple of them I wanted to see or actually wanted to talk about. real quick. So real quick, Sony with 5. Thank you. Manifesting Zavik somewhere in Frontiers. Hashtag ready for Zeddy. Xavier with 279, and just that's it. Thank you. Nicole Plated for $1.99, and I just wanted to get this out front real quick because congratulations on 8,000 subscribers to Wayne.
Yeah.
And if you guys are subscribed to Sunset City and not him, you're a fake fan.
You're making a mistake.
You're 100%. He's incredible, obviously. Xavier with 279. Happy Venus Day.
Oh,
for
fuck's
Venus.
Everyone wants to have that Jamal action, don't they?
They sure do. Omega Mr. Salty with 299. Thank you. And the Super Guy 55. This is a one to get to with 179 licks. In-game Amy cutscene in a completely different area. So, yeah, just I wanted to get us up here so we can get back on track with Sonic related stuff here, because obviously the cutscenes aren't going to be the only thing we talk about today. That's just the first one I really wanted to focus on, because now that I got my brain on straight, pup, now that we know that that's a story trailer specifically, do you feel it is disingenuous at all to show us something like that instead of actual in-game cutscenes, or is just kind of par for the course when it comes to
really, like,
yeah,
I guess it does make the trailer look a bit more impressive in that regard. Like, when you're in a game playing these things and seeing these little in-game cutscenes, you're already immersed into it, whereas for a trailer they need to grab you a little more. So I think it does make sense what they've done. I don't think it's disingenuous. Just don't fucking abuse that. Don't have stuff happen in those CGI cutscenes that isn't gonna fucking happen in the game.
I will say that there is like one pre-rendered scene from the newer trailer that I think I'm very confident is just taken straight from the game, because I believe it's introducing how a core mechanic of the game works.
Which one?
Cyberspace, and like how you enter the levels and
where he's like pressing the where he's pressing the thing after she's like, "Don't press that button, Sonic."
So I love that. I hope to God that it plays out just like that in the game. That silent defiance. He doesn't say shit. He just stares at them and presses the button. And I love that. And then I think that that's him transporting himself into one of the cyberspace levels. And then I think towards the end of the trailer, we see him like exiting out of it and coming out the other end in a different part of the island, and then that's where he sees Amy. So,
I think I'm gonna sound like a dick, but I think that is the least likely thing of the bunch.
You think so?
Yeah, because for one, like, usually if they have a CGI cutscene, it's much more narrative based than mechanic based. And like, I understand why they would do something like that for the mechanic in the trailer, because it's quicker to show, more concise. But I mean, again, there could be surprises. Like, the demo's just a demo at the end of the day. Like, they could have sliced off some openings and stuff. But like, they do open the game with Sonic coming out of a cyberspace portal, and then Sage being like, "No one's ever escaped. You must be the key," and stuff like that. And it's all in game. So I don't know. Again, though, like, it's only a demo. It's one of those things where if they did have this big show-stop and opening cutscene, I could understand if maybe they want to keep it under wraps. I mean, here's the thing. At Sonic Central, they said the game begins with Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails floating through a portal and then arriving on these islands and stuff.
You mean Amy?
And Amy as well.
Knuckles
right.
is involved there too?
Apparently.
I think that they announced that Knuckles would be involved at some point.
I think it's pretty clear. I mean, if they're doing like an opening like animation or like a separate animation, and we've seen him in the promotional material now, like, there's no way you get Ian Flynn on board to write a Sonic game and you don't have he's going to be there sometime.
No, they literally mentioned in the digital deluxe that you get Knuckles memory tokens as well. So like,
okay.
I just figured he wasn't going to be. I just figured he wasn't going to be there at the beginning with the other three.
I don't know about that. I can't speak for that. But like, yeah.
Was it good? Did you think it was going to be one of those things where like he's not mentioned at all in the beginning of the story, but then like Sonic comes across him at some point in the story, like, I guess Knuckles must be here too.
But
something like that.
The thing
I honestly,
sorry, go on.
I do still kind of think that that's what's going on in the trailer, though. I think that at least the beginning part is, I think that's the first time you enter a cyberspace level, because it kind of feels like the first interaction that Sonic has had with this child. I love how everybody just defaulted to she. Is there confirmation on
Yeah, she's a
on
she.
that?
It's
Oh,
a she.
okay. I was confused because I thought, just looking at the design, that could very well also be like a 6-year-old boy. But
I guess figure out what Growly's
Way too much
barking at.
time in anime land, man.
I mean, it's a child. It's whatever. But yeah, I don't know, because that just feels like a decent way to meld like narrative with like introduction of game mechanics, which is something real video games do from time to time. And I think Sonic could get away with doing that.
We'll see when we see, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't put a lot of money on it, but I guess we'll see. I do think though, like the facts. So the fact is, like, yeah, they've said, it does begin with them going into this apparition on the tornado and stuff like that. So I think the fact we haven't seen that suggests that that could be a CG cutscene, but at the same time, it seems like they want to go for the mystery angle. So it's like, oh, it might be effective having Sonic just wake up on the island, and then that's something he's got to solve later down the line. But then they've already kind of said that, though. They've kind of revealed the mystery in that sense. So it's a little weird what's going on here. Like,
Oh God, we're gonna get to the end of the game, and it's gonna turn out that Sonic and the gang were dead the whole time, and the islands were purgatory.
Sonic
into
and Sonic and his friends were in an insane asylum, and Pooh represents
I can't wait for
anxiety.
Sonic the Hedgehog Majora's Mask.
Apparently,
I was
that
just-
wasn't the actual ending of Lost. That's not what that meant, I guess.
We're not. We're not doing this. This is not Billiam's channel. We're not talking about Lost. Not happening.
Get back here, coward!
I only saw a few episodes of Lost. I thought it was alright, but I only saw a few little episodes. First
Yeah.
season. So here's the thing, right, is the more I look at Sage, the more I think they're probably not going to relate her to Infinite, but they bloody should, because all of the design sensibilities of Infinite are there. One eye is covered up. The other eye is exposed and red and yellow and shit. Like, same color scheme. Like, I would actually be kind of impressed if they used this as a means of redeeming the Phantom Ruby saga.
I mean, I guarantee it's going to depend entirely on how much control Ian actually has on the story. Because if it's up to him, I mean, yeah, just going by 15 years of him writing Sonic the Hedgehog, he will do everything in his power to connect it to the history of the Hedgehog. And yeah, he also has a history of like redeeming the less than stellar story points. I mean, like, I know everyone here loves Unleashed. I personally thought it was missed potential that they didn't let Sonic go a little bit feral when he was the Werehog the first time. And when he got his hands on it on Archie, that's exactly what he did. Sonic, with the help of his friends, had to fight down that more wild side. He had to get to the point where he could just change from Sonic to Werehog without just going completely nuts.
You see,
And I thought that was awesome.
in the game, the Werehog grabs Chip and he's just like, hey, are you okay? Whereas in the comics, he grabs Chip and puts it in his mouth and just crunch, crunch, crunch.
It would have been. I do think. Sorry, I don't want to go off on an Unleashed tangent. Would have been an interesting way to take that, though. Is just kind of like, otherwise, what's the point of making him a big werewolf? Like, having that personality shift is.
We'll have that talk another time.
Yeah. I don't want to just sit here and shit on Unleashed again, though. I've done that enough in the past. I don't harbor nearly as much resentment for that game as I do plenty of others in this series.
Yeah.
I will say, sorry if I'm kind of springing off topic a little bit here. This has been really interesting for me because this is the most in-depth I've ever gotten into an upcoming Sonic game. Like, even beyond, like, Sonic Colors, I think when Sonic Colors Ultimate was coming out, we talked about it on the show and everything like that, but that's sort of where it began and ended with me. But like, this is a game that I found Frontiers is something I've found myself talking about with coworkers and stuff like that, just like having discussions about what I'm thinking about this, that, or the other. I legitimately hope that this is as big of a deal for the Sonic franchise as I kind of feel it is.
Yeah.
Probably a little overdramatic to say that this is something of a turning point for the franchise, but I think it has the potential to be, depending on how they play their cards.
I was gonna say the same thing too. Like it's hard for me to tell because even when Forces was coming out, I wasn't a known YouTuber then. I was doing stuff, but nobody knew who I was. Like, and it's literally my job now. So I've never been as involved with the Sonic community as I am now. And this is gonna be the first major release since my life changed as I'm very gracious for. Thank you, everybody. But yeah, like I've been trying to sit back, like, okay, like in the past, if a Sonic game was coming out and I wasn't immediately hooked, I ignored it. So after 06, I was really burned. Unleashed looked really cool. Then I saw the Werehog. I'm like, I'm out. And I didn't play it when it first initially dropped. And I didn't touch Colors until like I got heard decent reviews from it. And then even back then, I was like, this is solid. I just, fine. And then Generations, yeah, was the last time I was this hyped, and it paid off for me in a big way. And I wonder if I was kind of stepped outside of this, if I would be as excited otherwise, because I've always been a Sonic fan. I always will be a Sonic fan, but like I have no problem ignoring the series when I feel like it's just doing some dog shit nonsense. Like I usually, if it wasn't my job, I wouldn't waste my money. Simple as that.
I could not have been paid to give a shit about Forces when it was coming out. Like,
yeah.
it looked bland from the marketing, and it was interesting because I was so stoked for Sonic Mania when that was announced, and that was weird because I was never primarily a 2D Sonic fan. I grew up with like the 3D Sonic games. That was just kind of like my default. When I thought of Sonic, I thought of the 3D titles, not necessarily the 2D ones. Although I did harbor a special appreciation for those. So the fact that Sonic Mania stole my attention so much harder than anything else. Besides that, it's like there's only ever been like 2 Sonic games I have ever pre-ordered, and they were both for the DS. And that was the DS version of Colors. I wish I knew what I did with that stupid hat. Because that's so expensive now. But and the other one was Sonic Chronicles.
I did too. I still have my styluses.
Summer child.
I never got the styluses. I pre-ordered the game and I don't remember what went wrong, but I didn't get my hands on the styluses.
Yeah, I was working at a game store at the time. That reminds me, I still have like window clings of Smash Brothers Brawl. I gotta put that shit up sometime.
The first
but yeah, God, that I've never been. I don't know if I've ever been like 06 burned me.
Yeah.
But then knowing BioWare fucked up as bad as they did, man, I just couldn't trust anything anymore.
And that was, and I apologize. I was actually working towards a point. I'm just bad at getting to it. Oh no. That's my bad. I'm bad at getting to my own points. But that was like it's just weird being in this because I'm legitimately looking forward to this game. I do have a couple of things I have some reservations about. I will say there is one major discourse that I just like. I've been doing my best to try to see where the level heads are coming from and kind of understand why they have an issue with it. I just don't care. And that would be the cyberspace levels and their linearity or their reuse of assets. And again, I understand why people have an issue with it. It's just personally to me, it's such like a secondary thing in terms of the game's content. And I do think on the one hand, this is sort of a I don't know if we're ready to move into that discussion yet.
I think I'm ready. I'm done with cutscenes. I don't know with the rest of you guys.
I mean, yeah, on that topic, I kind of think the reason why people are feeling, I guess, as strongly as they do is because if you look at kind of the interview with, I think it was Morio Kishimoto, but also Takeshi Tezuka to an extent, the way they described the relationship between the open zones and the cyberspace stages was basically akin to the open zones are a hub world, and the cyberspace stages are the main progression. That's a roundabout how they made it sound, but it's quite evident that no, the open zone is still the bulk of the game, and that basically these are missions within it. I don't know if they're completely optional or not. I think people are jumping the gun when they say they're completely optional, but like they are just a small cog in a larger machine, you know. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, they also did say these are bite-sized levels. And there's a thread on Twitter, actually, and I'm just going to paraphrase this a little bit, but I want to find out at least what the name of the guy was. But he basically...
We might be thinking of the same thread, actually.
Is it Radical 1991, where they basically explain the reason for the shorter length of the stages in Sonic Frontiers being, like, for Sonic Frontiers' gameplay loop, they need lots and lots and lots of levels, so it makes sense that they're smaller, because Sonic ultimately just catapults through these levels a million miles an hour. It's no use trying to make each level like a full 7 minutes or whatever. And I know that there's going to be people that bring up Unleashed's level length, but here's a cold hard fact that I didn't realize until I became an adult. Sonic Unleashed, if you take away the Werehog, if you take away the hub worlds, if you take away the tornado stages, and you take away the cutscenes, and you just keep it to the modern Sonic stuff and some boss fights, you got a 15-minute game.
And people, I think that's also worth stating, because people, myself included, have a history of saying it's like, oh, there's a really amazing game in Sonic Unleashed. It's just all in the daytime stages. And that's kind of maybe unfairly throwing out like a good 70% of the rest of the game. It's like those are the parts of the game that I find the most memorable, and the parts that I would want to go back to the most. But that wasn't even like what was tying the entire experience together. I'm glad you brought up that point though, Pup, because like the thread that I saw was it was essentially saying that they understood the argument that a lot of people were making, and I don't know if I 100% agree with this person's stance on this, but this was something that got me to think a little bit. And they said that everybody's talking about how the cyberspace levels are essentially akin to special stages and things of that nature. I've said that a couple of times myself. And they said that is the worst possible thing people could be saying about it, because that is clearly not how Sega sees them, not based off the marketing that we've seen and how heavily they've showcased these cyberspace levels. I mean, when's the last time a Sonic game was coming out and they devoted that much time in a trailer to special stages?
Yeah.
That's the thing,
You know what I
is
mean?
it is being very much in marketing treated as kind of in a way an equal part of the game. I mean, I guess still secondary, but like still it's being treated as a very significant part of the game.
Yeah.
And it's like people have brought up like people have mentioned to me when I said it's kind of unprecedented for a Sonic game to completely lift a stage layout. People said, okay, what about Gameland from Sonic Colors? Gameland was not featured anywhere near as much in promo. It even featured in promo material for Sonic Colors.
I would say, like, I mean, it's all case by case, because yeah, like you really cannot just base everything off of just a quick tweet of somebody just reacting to something. It's tedious, but like everything's a case by case basis. So yes, Wispy Woods is in every Kirby game in its tradition at this point, but also, you know, it's completely different assets, it's a completely different layout usually, and that's fine. But like, yeah, the main argument for reusing these assets is like, this is like, it's Always Sunny. Mac and cheese. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
That's all we are eating, and they're just giving us reheated leftovers over and over again. I think everybody understands the pros and cons in terms of bringing them back in. In general, I love the idea of implementing boost stage like this. I think it's genius. I do think it's an egregious offense if it is just chopped up generations and then it's smattered throughout the game. That I'm going to find offensive if that's the case. If it's just like, yeah, if it's just a few of the generation stages and then they move on and get a little bit more creative and they get a little bit more original with it, I'm down with that. I wouldn't even mind like that leak if Dragon Road's back. Like, at least those are assets we haven't seen in a long time, right?
Yeah.
So,
and like when the thing I'll say is like, I mean, I don't want to get too much into the woods in this bit yet, because I will say right now I have warmed up to the cyberspace since seeing it within the context of the game. Like, so I thought, okay, it looks interesting, like just visually in like when I saw the levels in isolation. Then when I saw it in the 15-minute full demo in the gameplay loop, I was like, okay, that's fine. That makes sense. That works. But I understand. I think it's really stupid that there are some people trying to invalidate the complaint of reusing old levels because, okay, like there's the whole thing of like, oh, Sonic fans when they see Green Hill again. Now let's imagine Sonic 2 came out then, and rather than the levels it instead had Green Hill, Marble Zone, Spring Yard. What do you have there? You don't have fucking Sonic 2, that's for sure. You've got Sonic 1 again. I guess the point I'm trying to make is a Sonic game, the core gameplay elements are relatively the same as they usually are. Like, you play Sonic for that experience. So when you have a platforming mascot that's a long-running thing, and the gameplay doesn't usually change up too radically, having new locations is absolutely paramount to creating longevity in that franchise. Like, if you're having a platforming game, which is kind of all about that sensation of speed, you need to be speeding through new places from game to game, because otherwise what's the point of releasing a new game? I'll explain later, though, why I've warmed
Otherwise,
up.
it's an expansion pack.
Yeah, and I'll explain later why I've warmed up to cyberspace when we get a bit more in the weeds there. But, like, this is coming from someone who has warmed up to it. I still fully understand why there might be some people who haven't warmed up to it.
And that's my thing is like is because I started like kind of looking for some of those opposing takes. Like, again, to me it's not a big deal, but I'm seeing that it is a big deal to a lot of other people, and I'm just trying to come to a firm understanding of why that is. And I think that I'm there, and I get it. And I'm like, I understand, and especially because it's so prominent in marketing and everything like that, then Sega has opened up that criticism. It's valid. Like, if they want to be showing it off that much, then it's something that's going to get talked about. And my thing is that even if the sad thing about it is that the cyberspace levels, I honestly think I'm going to have a lot of fun with. I'm looking forward to them personally. The thing is that they might be fine on their own, but this response is a direct consequence to the way they've handled the franchise up to this point. Regardless of the fact that I think that this might end up being one of the smartest reuses of a bunch of like older levels and areas and assets and everything like that in a vacuum. On the broader scope, when you're looking at the rest of the franchise, especially as of recent years, then it doesn't stand out the way that it can. It's incapable of being taken on its own. It has to be like levied against the fact that we've been here so many times in the past decade.
Yeah, this would all be like, if they hadn't, if Forces of Mania didn't exist, this would all be very exciting. But I guess what's made me warm up to it a little bit, is I saw, I think, Green Hill Act 2, or whatever it's going to be called. Like, they're not even calling it that. They're calling it like 1-1-1-2 and stuff like that. I saw the second Green Hill Act, and I saw Sonic grinding on these rails, and in the background it was like a sunset, and just everything was just floating in the air, and it was just this absolute like calamity. And I was just looking at that, I was like, this isn't like it's Green Hill, sure, but it's not Green Hill, if you get me. Like, this is not the same thing. Like, hang on.
I mean, it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be Sonic's memories there. So like seeing all the different things going on, it makes sense. But there's also there's the other aspect of that. Like, if all of that is just window dressing on the exact same level design again, like
that is one thing. I mean, like, I think that's an aspect that's been blown out of proportion a little bit as well. Leave it to the Sonic fan base to blow something out of proportion. But, like, yes, that first level is undeniably Windmill Isle Act 1 with, different dressing. But then there's people like, oh, there's a loop. That's just like in Sonic Generations and stuff. It's like, okay, let's cool it a little bit, okay? Like, that's not productive.
I think the thing with me, as I'm looking at all this, is like, I understand why people freak out, because we've had so many times getting burned by Sonic Team. Like, I get it. But there's a certain point where, like, I don't think people get the cyberspace levels. So far, they look like they're only going to take up maybe 5% of the actual runtime of the game. and they're a thing that can be either just mildly inconvenient or tacitly ignored for the majority of the game, based on what we've been told so far about how the game works, which means almost all of the focus, at least for me, should probably be on the open world aspect, the frontier part of Sonic Frontiers.
That's the thing. This game is going to live and die by how fun the open zones are. Also,
yeah,
should we slow the conversation down just a tad because Nick has gone into null space?
I think so.
Shall we go over to the pause screen and just wait for Nick to get back, or shall we just try and kill time?
All slow.
Slow speaking. Eventually, Nick will return.
How are you, Wayne?
My back hurts.
God damn it.
When you are getting old.
No, Wayne's just moving at super speed. We all seem slow compared to him.
That means he's aging faster.
Yep. We could actually fill the time in with super chats real quick.
Shall we do that then? But be sure to leave like a B at where we last stopped. Because...
I think we only have one.
There's only one.
We haven't already. that we haven't read already.
Well, I guess we could kill time by me trying to explain the ending of Lost.
No,
goddamn.
we're good.
No,
we're good.
as in, that's what the super
We
chat
got
wants.
Killian Mc...
Unless do you want me to start explaining the entirety of the Resident Evil lore? Or we'll do that.
Has
We
anyone
do- we
asked you to do
haven't,
that? Has any
No.
super chat asked you to do that?
Killian, why have you subjected us?
No,
to
here's the
this?
thing: is I haven't seen Lost, so I can't tell you.
It's not exactly peak television, honestly. If you've heard of Billiam on YouTube, go watch his videos about Lost. They're more entertaining than the actual show.
Right. So, what does the super chat say, Wallace?
The super chat is from Killian McMurphy, $1.99. No, pup, please explain the ending of Lost.
Okay. They got lost, and now they are found.
Actually, they got off the island at one point, and then they decided to go back.
Why would you do that?
Dumb, like, Destiny bullshit. I don't fucking remember. And then we got Mr. Krebs with $1.99. Klonoa time, Wayne.
And then we have infamous.jpg with $1.99. Good morning, handsome people.
Bold
Good
of you
morning.
to assume that I'm handsome.
Bold of you to assume it's morning.
Yeah, over here it's actually early evening.
Wrong on Pup's account twice.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Phoenix sends two licks and says, Cirrus, explain all Resident Evil lore. Immediately. Well, we're gonna...
Virus got out, world went boom. They're now zombies, but sometime. Nuclear bomb.
Where's my phone? Here it is.
There you go.
I should probably
I just
Nick.
condensed every Resident Evil game for you. Sometimes zombie, sometimes parasite. Who knows?
Damnamals BP Power sends 5 USD. Why not pass the time with the top 10 scariest, sexiest Sonic robots? XD.
God damn it.
Um,
Well, Gamma is on top.
that one SWAT bot that said there's no fun allowed, I'm pretty sure he's a Dom.
And then we have SSS06 Super Saiyan Sonic 06. I'm gonna assume $1.99. Did Nick went to the Starfall Islands? No, he got transported to Brazil.
He's in Cyber Brazil right now.
Can you guys hear me?
Kind
Yeah.
of.
You
Yeah, you
sound
sound-
deep fried, but yeah.
Yeah, you sound a little toilety, but you sound, hearable.
Yeah, no, my internet's gone, guys. It's gone.
Oh.
It's just come. It's not coming back. It's gone.
That's a bit
Oh, no.
pooey.
So
Next time on Sunset City Z.
Well, this is
and my
okay.
things being
I've heard podcasts with worse audio. It's all good.
Did the internet take the kids with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The internet went to Brazil.
No, it says my Ethernet's connected, but like absolutely nothing on my computer. Like everything in my area is fine. I don't know what happened, but my internet it's just gone.
It could just be a
completely.
temporary dropout, man. It's only a spike. It will soon stabilize.
Well, I mean, we've been waiting for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Oh.
Like, again, a dropout can last around about 20, 10 minutes, whatever. Either way. Right, where did we get up to on the super chats? We can put a B next to that, and then we can resume them at the end.
We ended on the Starfall Islands one, I think.
Are you fine to stay on this way, Nick?
Trying to get my Bluetooth to work.
I gotcha.
Bear with me.
Okay, so,
And-
we got
we
to
got,
Starfall Islands. Is that where we're leaving it? Okay, cool. Okay,
There's
so,
a B there now.
what approximately were we saying?
We got Sonic Saiyan 07? Or are we skipping on the
Yeah, we're
super
going to
chats
do the
till
super
later?
chats at the end now that we... Nope, Nick's gone
fair,
again.
fair.
Nope, he's gone again. Super chats.
Oh, back to Super Chats. From Sonic Saiyan 07. Thank you for the $5. I bought up a theory that memory means data storage, opposed to the past govern the digital theming that Sonic still recognizes his friends. That's seeing everything as cyberspace and data and memory storage. Like, I feel like that's all probably very intentional.
What if it's a meta narrative at the fact that Sonic is literally a digital
Don't say
creation?
meta with Sonic. It's evil. Never do that. Sonic fans
Ozjam.
don't like it when you say that.
Ozjam H with $5. I just got here, but ironically, I'd rather be in Sonic discourse than another fandom that is also meltdowning. So yeah, a masochist I am. No, to be fair, I'd rather be involved in this Sonic stuff than like the time when they changed Peter Parker's face in Spider-Man Remastered.
Oh my
I'm-
god.
I mean, like, which I think the remastered face is better.
Agreed.
But
It is.
yeah,
It just is.
Yeah, solidarity,
It's
my
more
brother.
realistic. It's just a better model overall. Like
He doesn't have those weird zombie eyes.
you can be resistant to the change all you want, but don't try and tell me it looks bad with any sense of objectivity because you're not going to win that.
Yeah. Where are we at now?
Welcome to Sonic the Hedgehog.
Go Kenji with 5 so it says Pup's opinion of the X-Men in the current MCU. The only one we've seen so far is Professor X, I guess, and I don't know if I don't know, like we don't really have anything yet. I think they need to introduce them sooner than later though, because my interest in the MCU is really, really fatigued at this point. And like
I feel you. I still have yet to watch She-Hulk.
I haven't watched Moon Knight, I haven't watched Ms. Marvel, and I haven't yet watched any of She-Hulk. So
Moon Knight was frustrating because it was like good, but god damn, it did not need to be like a 6-episode series. It should have just been like
a movie,
like a straight to Disney Plus movie.
yeah, didn't
And
someone
that-
edit it into like a movie as well, or was that Obi-Wan I'm thinking of?
There's so much fucking fluff because I think Obi-Wan had the exact same problem, and I think that's an issue with a lot of the Marvel Disney Plus shows. They really got to like consolidate this shit down. It doesn't warrant these like TV series.
The Disney Plus shows are just, they're big budget, but the writing quality is just not there. And Game Apologist is back, so we can put a B there.
I think his headset's being fucky.
It's only a matter of time. I think he's he's having some cyberspace trouble. So we're just gonna sit here in silence for a bit then, yeah? Silent reading time?
No.
Oh, sorry. I
Well,
was
we
responding.
well
to
we got
to Nick.
268 viewers, which is sit here in silence. Perfect. I mean, if it's silent, there's no reason to turn it off because there's nothing offensive going on, you know? Like,
Perfect. It's
oh,
the perfect show that won't upset anybody.
Wayne, you didn't get the name down for this one.
Oh shit! Did I not?
Yeah.
Here, let me.
2 something.
Sometimes the thing is like the chat's constantly moving as
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like.
I get
Sometimes
it.
he gets flipped
I-
away.
it moves the goalposts, like me. I'll scroll up.
Oh my god!
I will.
Let's see. It's
It's
after
perfect.
CHF.
Let's see. Okay, it was Phoenix. Cirrus and others, how hyped are you for the Resi 4 remake?
I'm not. I'm just not.
I still need to beat the first one entirely.
I still need to play the original Resident Evil 4 to any capacity.
So here's my deal. And I'm going to go off on a tangent, and I hate that I'm going to have to do this because we're now talking about one of my favorite games that has ever been made. Resident Evil 4 is one of the few games that is near perfect, which is saying something for how up and down that freaking franchise is to begin with. It is a game that has neither needed a remake nor warrants one, as it's never aged poorly outside of its graphics, which a good remaster can do that anyway. I do not like the voice they have given us for Sadler. I do not like the direction they've gone with the design for the game itself. The only thing that I'm going to grant that game is that it looks like they're going to make more of the game take place at night as opposed to day, which that game kind of needed, but it really wasn't warranted because the whole point was you spent the first 30 minutes in the daytime and then everything went to shit at night. But okay, sure.
Tiny Nick,
So-
are you
Play through it again.
are you able to speak?
I have no idea.
Okay, we can hear
Oof.
you.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening, man. Like my Bluetooth headset's not connecting to my phone. I mean, it's connected to my phone, won't connect to Discord, and now the internet's trying to get back up, but it's blocking from everything. I'm bouncing out, boys. Like I'm not doing this. So you guys enjoy the rest of the podcast. Very sorry I have to bail on this. It's just out of my control.
It's
Sorry,
all fine,
buddy.
man. I understand.
Technical things happen. We will carry it on in your name.
I'm very excited to hear all of your opinions on the trailers and everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you all. Time.
Yeah.
See you guys.
We'll see you soon, man.
Bye.
Well, that was
I'll have
painful.
to do an
man.
actual like discussion about RE4 on my channel now, so that way me and Phoenix can hash out our differences.
I will say, just kind of based off like outsider's perspective, Resident Evil 4 is a game that has been so readily available on literally everything ever since it came out, regardless of what the director said was going to be the case. And it does hold up from what I've been able to tell. So doesn't that mean that they can just kind of like have more liberties with a remake? Because it's not like it tarnishes any semblance of the original.
I
'Cause,
think
like-
so, for me, the issue isn't that it's going to tarnish the original. My issue is that in terms of Resident Evil games that existed around that time, there is one Resident Evil game that warrants a remake above all others because it so desperately needs another pass, and it was not
Code
4.
Veronica?
It was Code Veronica.
Okay.
Code Veronica is desperate for someone to grab that game and make it into something far greater than what we originally got, because Code Veronica dropped a lot of balls, and I love that game, but it dropped a lot of just important things when it was made.
This next super chat, by the way, should be, I think, the last super chat before we go back into conversation, because I think it's a good segue. David Crespo sends $1.99. So, speed sliders. You guys know much about the speed sliders in Frontiers?
Oh yeah, you can like change it to where you've got a higher maximum speed, or like there's a lower speed threshold for your that your boost gives you in the beginning.
Yeah, like the bottom speed is lower. It takes longer for the boost to like fully reach
Yeah.
its maximum. I think that's fantastic.
I see it as nothing but a good thing.
Yeah.
I do too. Like have either of you played the Conduit on the Wii?
No.
Okay. So they're doing what the Conduit did. So the Conduit was one of I will say the first perfectly controlling first-person shooter on the Wii, and I can only really name like 4 good first-person shooters or 4 good first-person games on the Wii and 3 that controlled perfectly. But what the Conduit did when it came out, which was also a Sega published game, by the way, is they had sliders for practically everything you could think of and fully mappable controls, and you could even remove motion controls from the game completely if you so chose, outside of like the Wiimote itself. And then they added dual analog to the sequel. But they basically, no matter what kind of first-person shooter you preferred to play, you could set it up to where it felt like Red Steel. You could set it up to where it felt like one of the Call of Duty games. You could set it up to where it felt like Metroid Prime 3, or you could set it up to where it felt like a PC shooter. And all of it was possible. in engine because they had completely customizable sliders. And if this is that, then I will be happy because every time I got somebody into playing Conduit online, every single time if they had a complaint about the controls, we went into the system, fixed it to their liking, and I never heard a complaint about that game's controls ever again. So if we get that here and it's the same deal, I will be over the fucking moon. And yes, one and only Donkey, you can change Conduit controls on the fly. You should be able to do that with these speed ones as well, I believe, because it showed it. The stuff showed it just like in pause menu, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it was, and that's my thing is like, God, video games, especially if we're talking like open world stuff, where the base gameplay is centered around traversal and movement. There's no good reason not to add customization to that in an open world title based around moving around. I mean, what does that hurt? I mean, really all that means is that you can just make it as comfortable as you want. I think it's great.
I think one of the things I'm most maybe excited for is just experimenting with that, because I'm looking forward to, like, here's the thing, like, just for like a meme, for like a live stream, you could always do like playing Sonic Frontiers from start to finish with all of the speed on bottom. So just the slowest playthrough possible. But also, like, you could do it so like your bottom speed is slow and your top speed is really fast, and then you could kind of do what you can to kind of mimic the physics of the classic Sonic games. Like, there is a possibility that we could actually have kind of a momentum-based Sonic game on our hands here. Also, when he does the drop dash, which I saw in the 15-minute demo, he does have ball physics when he does that, which is really exciting. Like, I'm actually so excited for that.
I can't wait to get my hands on this game and just mess around with it. Like, this is gonna be fun.
I'm excited to be excited about a Sonic game, and that's a dumb sentence.
I think Gilly was also bang on the money when he was saying, like, it's Super Sonic 64 at the reveal, like, when they did the gameplay reveal. Like, we've now got the most versatile Sonic we've ever had. Like, whether or not he controls well or not, that's another question. We've got the most versatile Sonic ever. He's got, you know, the boost. I mean, it's a rechargeable boost now, but, like, he's got the boost. He can drop dash. He can light speed dash now. He can drift. He can also do his parkour stuff from Sonic Lost World. Like, we have the most comprehensive moveset for Sonic to date. And that was one of the big things with, like, Super Mario 64, was how much you could do with that character when you got to really know their controls and such. So, as I say, I think Gilly was on the money with that. And I'm just excited to be able to experiment with all the things Sonic can do in these big open areas. I think this was a really good way of showcasing that. I will say this, I do see it as kind of another throw of the dice, effectively. Like, in that it's another way of Sega trying to make Sonic work, not in 3D, but make this whole thing of this blistering speed hedgehog work. Because obviously, like, since Unleashed, I know a lot of people like to say Unleashed got it right, but since Unleashed, they've been trying to find ways to have that blisteringly fast gameplay work in a game that still feels long and substantial. And, like, you know, they've tried everything from Werehog to mostly 2D arcade stages to having classic Sonic back. I think this open world element is another throw of the dice, but I think, you know, I think it's good that they're clearly keeping in touch with what people love about Sonic, with cyberspace being as arcadey as it looks. Would I love it if we could have long levels and stuff? Yeah, but we'll have to see how it works in the actual final game. But, like, yeah, no, I'm very, very, very excited for this one.
I'm looking at the cyberspace levels almost as the shrines from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
basically.
Super Mario, Zelda. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, no, I agree. My thing is that because I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was like, dude, if these are almost like the equivalent of shrines in Breath of the Wild, I would rather, for as many times as we have already seen them, get the same levels that we've had before from other Sonic games, even recently, if it meant that every single one of them didn't look like the same boring blue sci-fi aesthetic that every shrine in that game has. I love Breath of the Wild, but Jesus Christ.
Don't give Sega ideas. They can't be trusted.
I
They
I
will take
hated
that to the bank.
I hated just how redundant the visual style of the Breath of the Wild shrines were. It was God, it was disappointing.
I mean, I
I did
think
not like that.
that's something that's really good about Sonic Frontiers, actually, is that it does appear to be breaking the monotony of the typical open world formula in that you've got more than one island. Because the thing with Breath of the Wild is Hyrule, and it all looks like Hyrule, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas Sonic, you know, it's going to vary from place to place. I mean, actually, I say that. No, there's a snowy area in Hyrule and stuff. So, okay, I'm going to take...
Well, there's snowy areas, desert, there's jungles, there's like
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll take an L there. Like, but
yeah,
like with Sonic...
No, I get I get what you mean though.
With Sonic Frontiers, like, again, I think the fact that they're doing cyberspace is going to keep things fresh, and even down to, like, having a 2D stage or two in there is going to ultimately keep things fresh. Like, when I saw that 2D city stage that they got, which everyone's saying is Radical Highway, but I'm not sure if I'm convinced by that, I was like, to be honest, given the format of this game, maybe having the occasional 2D stage will just keep that pace really, really well. Like,
Hey, sorry, go ahead.
I feel like Sonic Forces set a precedent with the Sonic fans. It like, you know, it showed us everything that can go wrong with a game that has short bite-sized levels, that has linearity, that has lots of dependency on 2D and stuff. And I feel like people just wanted to see that stuff gone for the next game. But Sonic Frontiers is out here instead saying, here's how we can make this work. And so I'm interested, like, in seeing how that goes down. I do think there's a strong chance that this could be a contender for best 3D Sonic game. Like, the ideas on paper, if they're executed right, the potential's there.
Yeah, my thing with this is if because it looks like they're just trying to copy a bunch of the design sensibilities from Breath of the Wild. However, as opposed to one giant map, we're getting 7 moderately sized maps. If every single one of these maps is like the size of the tutorial area from Breath of the Wild, that is a fantastically large game. That's basically giving me a Mario 64 / Mario Sunshine type of deal with just a handful of large open spaces to just dick around in. If this game, ignoring everything that it is trying to do in terms of these are your cyberspace levels, this is the story, this is everything. If this game is just fun to run around in, just running around in, that's fine. That's literally all it needs to be for me at this point. I just want to be able to run around in this environment and dick off. And if I can do that and it feels good and those sliders give me the ability to make this feel amazing to just run around in a physics playground, I'll probably end up doing that for 3 hours, and then everybody else I know will be decently far ahead in the story and I'll have to play catch up. And I'll be happy with that reality.
Do you know much about the action mode and the high speed mode?
I know that they said that like action mode was almost like the beginner mode in terms of controls.
So I've seen
then
actual gameplay of both now from Gamescom. And yeah, so action mode, when I was watching them play Cyberspace Sky Sanctuary, I was like, oh, that does look sluggish. Like, Sonic does appear to be quite slow in action mode. And the thing is, he's got an unlimited boost in that mode. So boost is more like a run button, effectively. But even then, the boost is not anywhere near as fast as it is in the high-speed mode. At the same time, I also think that's the mode they showcased first as well. Like, Sonic's speed in that initial gameplay reveal was quite slow compared to what it is in a lot of the other Hedgehog Engine games. But, like, high-speed mode appears to be much more in line with what I think we would expect from, like, Generations. Still not quite as fast as that, but, like...
When you say unlimited boost, you're meaning like the boost gauge doesn't go down, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't go down.
Whereas because I was thinking like the difference between like Unleashed regular and Unleashed, where boost is a rationable thing in Unleashed.
Yeah, no, in
versus
neither of these
hold down.
Neither of these modes have a rationed boost. But high speed mode, the boost recharges over time, so you don't have to collect rings or white wisps. You just have to use it. I don't know, as and when you can, basically. One thing. I fucking hate about Sonic Frontiers so far. One thing that as soon as I saw it, I was like, ew. The boost gauge. The heads-up display for the boost gauge being this little circle that's right next to Sonic's head. I hate that so much. It should be on the bottom left of the screen or something. Because when it's right next to Sonic, it's slap bang in the middle. It looks like it's a part of him. And it's just distracting. I don't like it being there, and I hope you can turn it off. If you can't, it's not a deal breaker, but I don't like that. I think that's a bad move.
I did notice something kind of interesting in the trailer for in the story trailer that we got. If anybody has it pulled up, look about 35 seconds into the trailer when Sonic is in the sandy environment with the palm trees everywhere, and tell me if you see what I see in the background.
I don't have it up right now.
Can you pull it up?
Do you want me to pull it up on stream?
Can you get it up? Can you get it up, pup?
I can never get it up. It's not very nice of you to joke about that.
I never claimed to be nice.
I'm totally just kidding, guys. Okay, hang on. Let me, Sonic Frontiers story. What a time to spring this up on me, you bitch. Right, okay. Now, be quiet, be silent. Let's go screening. Oh, it's just me. I don't have your reactive images in here yet. Okay. Window. Okay. Get rid of myself. Okay, right. Where do you want me to go?
35 seconds in, when he's running on the sandy area with the palm trees in the background, like the palm trees around him.
Should I pause it?
Yeah.
Okay, so pause it when it gets to the palm trees, right?
Yep.
Okay, I've got it paused. What am I looking
Okay,
at?
are we just looking at the island in the back of the red thing to the right?
Is that an island in the background, or is that a city?
Let's see.
It could go
Do those
both ways.
look kind of like buildings?
Wait.
They do,
Oh wait.
don't they?
It's weird. So let me get that up here. That looks like either a city that has had all of its textures derezzed,
Yeah.
or island. Because like I'm looking at the fact that there's a natural slope at the top of each of those, as opposed to like
Like
they
a
all have
hard edge.
Yeah, they kind
and
of
they all have flat tops on the top, like you're supposed to stand on them. Like I would expect a few of those to look more like skyscrapery, as opposed to all being flat tops if that were a city. And that slope on the bottom right, it looks like it's just another island.
Well, that's why I wanted to get somebody else's opinion, because the first thing I thought of was city, and actually, Nick kind of said exactly what ran through my mind, is that it almost looked like Station Square off in the background.
Oh, that'd be sick, but I doubt it. But like, I think it's a mountain
I swear,
range
if we hear
or a canyon.
Can you imagine if you step on that beach and like you can't see anything yet? It's like all fogged, but just like everything's under fog. You're on a beach, not this one, but the one on the other shore, and you just hear like very faint every now and again notes from the Station Square theme, just like every once in a while as you're walking around, and then you never actually get to be in Station Square, but like it's just a thing that fans have to catch on. Like, oh, these aren't rocks that are shrouded in shadow. These are buildings. Sonic just can't remember.
It'd be cool though, but it would imply that Station Square and the Starfall Islands are just really close to each other, which would take away a lot of their mystique.
It is it very well could just be a bunch of cliffs off on an island. I think that's less interesting. I would love it if it was like maybe not Station Square, but like just an abandoned like city full of like dead skyscrapers.
Could be like a form
Like-
of like ancient city or something, maybe.
Yeah. Otherwise, if it's just a bunch of cliffs off in the background, that's whatever. I don't know.
The natural slopes look to be very cliffy, but at the same time, it's another one of those times, Wayne. I want you to be right. I want you to be correct.
It would be cool
But-
if you're right, but what I'm gonna do is assume that it's just a cliff, and then if it's anything else,
Yeah.
I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. It's because, like, I mean, if we're being realistic here, it's probably just a bunch of cliffs. But it's just something that's sort of stuck out of my brain when I was watching the trailer, and I was just like, yo, wait a minute. And I'm unsure, and it would just be really cool if there was something a little bit more interesting going on there than, oh, you can just see one of the other Starfall Islands in the background when you're on this one.
Mhm.
God, the sky looks kind of imposing in this image, doesn't it?
Ned says there's actually a leak that said there was a Station Square kind of area. Really? Like outside of the cyberspace area? Because like I could understand if like Station Square was a background piece to one of the cyberspace areas, but
I know that a
With-
lot of leaks have been confirmed correct, but I'm still not gonna bet a lot of money on any of the leaks because I'm just not that kind of guy.
Major plot twist, because they they basically said that the Sonic's world is just made up of a bunch of islands, right?
basically.
Yeah, yeah. Plot twist of the game is gonna be they're gonna pull a Jack 2, and they're gonna be like, oh, this is just like off in the future. Or was it the past? I don't remember in that one. But like in Frontiers, when you go to the Starfall Islands, you're really just traveling through time, and this is just off in the future after like humanity is died off, and like this is all that's left.
And Sonic's stuck there, and he's no longer got
Yeah.
any of his human friends, and that's how
Like-
and it's a prequel to Sonic Forces, and that's how they justify it all being animal people in that game.
And then like Eggman created like those like alien robots that we keep seeing. He was trying to harness the power of the Phantom Ruby and accidentally gave it sentient life, thus creating Sage. This is my headcanon until it's proven
Until it's
wrong.
proven wrong.
Okay, so can I go back to the main screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we've also had a cutscene of Eggman as well, and it feels like Ian Flynn dialogue, which I'm liking. I'm happy about that.
I haven't seen the cutscene with Eggman.
Oh, yeah, no, he kind of admits weakness to himself.
Let me see here. Let me see if I can find this real quick.
But it's cool. It's very cool.
Here we go. Wait, why is there no volume on this? Hold on. Oh, it's because I'm just looking. I have to read the dialogue here. Eggman saying, "I appear to be in a digital dimension. I've employed similar constructs in my own systems, but this is markedly more advanced." That's a weird admission from him.
Well, he acknowledges that.
At least in like IDW, like he has on occasion not really had a problem praising like at least like technological.
Oh, like
Are you
like how
watching-
he wouldn't praise anything that Dr. Starline did, but he was always paying attention.
Wait,
he
Sorry.
has praised indirectly to a degree, but he's praised Tails' intelligence mostly. I think he just respects Tails as an engineer.
Cyrus, are you watching the full cutscene though?
I'm watching the full cutscene. Yes.
Where it says like, "Don't let anyone hear you say that." Out
Yeah,
loud.
he presses a button on his apparently one of the yellow buttons on his thing is actually a recording device.
Oh, there you
Note
go.
to self, don't admit that to anyone.
It's kind of cool. I'm already liking what Flynn is doing with Eggman in this game.
The amount of data stored here defies what is it? What is that word? Hold on. Defies quantification. Okay, so way too much data for him to be able to tell.
He likes his scientific Eggman, I notice. Like, he portrays him
That's-
much more as a scientist and a strategist than
Well, that's-
Polnareff ever did.
Nick just said he's still a scientist. He likes learning despite his ego. Sees it as something to learn and take advantage of.
Yeah.
Have you guys also
Like,
seen the Sorry, go on, Cyrus, because you're still on top.
I was gonna say he's a scientist first and a narcissist second, but it's a close second.
Have you seen the interactive cutscene with the Titan, or the
I have not
pseudo
yet,
Titan
no.
boss fight? The thing I like about it is, yes, it's a series of homing attacks. It's effectively a quick time event, but the camera angles are so like dynamic. The camera's constantly twisting with every homing attack you do. I think that's awesome. Like, we are really getting some of those cinematic aspects back. I also just like the Assassin's Creed style loading screens as well. where it gives you like a little tutorial in this white void, and you can actually control Sonic.
Hmm. I mean, that's kind of like whatchamacallit. That's almost like the way the tutorial worked in we're getting a lot of these again. The beginning of Sonic and the Secret Rings, where like you were in a separate location cut away from the story to learn about how to control, and then you would be brought back into the story when you were done. Like,
There's
what's
It's
up?
also like Bayonetta, where in Bayonetta you could actually practice combos and stuff during the loading screen, and it would show you your inputs, so you could get a good idea of like what does what outside of a combat scenario.
Mm.
I guess the bottom line is it looks like Sonic has actually catched up with the rest of the gaming industry in this game.
Yeah,
That's-
that's awkward to hear, but it's not untrue.
I made a passing joke earlier, comparing like Sonic as opposed to a quote unquote real video game. I don't want anybody to take that too seriously. That was a joke. But I do agree is that it does kind of feel like Sonic just catching up a little bit finally.
I mean,
ironically,
it's no longer a budget title, and it no longer
Yeah.
looks like a budget title. Like, that's something I'm really happy about, is like, I've never seen this much emphasis in Sonic marketing on the game being big and like sort of a high budget experience. You can still see where they've cut some corners, like cyberspace reusing assets, and like Sonic's animation blending is still very pooey in game. And we are still like, I did still see quite a bit of pop in and pop out for like some of the models in the distance. Not as egregious as that first reveal, but like it's still there. So it is quite clear where some corners has been cut, some money's been saved, but it's still like I'm very enthusiastic about this. This looks like we are finally getting a Sonic game that's going big.
Yeah, that's been one of the issues I've had with like take Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces is a game that should have
It
I know,
should
and
be
it's like,
big.
it should be big. It should feel huge, but it feels like it takes place in only like 4 locations.
Yeah, it's like it's got the
Um,
like the storyline of this thing is like the ultimate extreme. Eggman wins. That should be the most event status Sonic game ever made. Yet it feels like a filler game.
Yeah. And so this feels like it's going to be giving us closer to what we've wanted in terms of like the actual potential of a Sonic game in terms of scope. Because like what's one of the biggest problems with Sonic in general? It's the fact that so much of the world flies by you while you are running, which makes it very hard to make a world large enough to do all the things you want to do. That should force a game to give you like a large scope in terms of its design, and that's stuff like Forces didn't. This looks like it's actually giving us that freedom to, God, I hate to say it this way, but the freedom to actually be Sonic for more than a
It
handful of
really
minutes.
makes you feel like
it
Batman.
really makes you feel like Sonic the Hedgehog.
I hope the islands are big enough. That's like, I think my main concern is that maybe the islands won't be big enough, and that everything you have to do in the islands starts to feel very repetitive. Like, that is a problem you can run into with these sort of open world, open zone games, like Assassin's Creed 1, for example. Very, very grindy game. We'll have to see, but like I'm kind of hoping like it's not overly repetitive.
I'm hoping so too. The combat in this game feels like you can have it one of 2 ways. You can either have it fun or you can have it quick.
Yeah,
Like
there's also
you can
like
either
there's the auto combo button as well, isn't there? Like there's a toggle where you can make it so that you're effectively just you do a homing attack and then watch Sonic just fight the enemy for you.
yeah, and I don't like
That's
that.
lame.
That feels very that feels mobile gamey to me,
Yeah,
and I'm just
which
I'm
is
just not
it's
here
more
for that.
automation, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, and I'd be happy if we never had any of that ever again. Like, I understand some automation being required when you like have a loop to loop or something, because changing player input during a loop not super great in 3D or in anything really. But I just don't want to see this game going that route where like I've played enough mobile games where they go like, "Hey, we can take the controls from you." Like, I don't want you to do that. I'm playing the video game to control it. Who designed this?
Sonic
Yeah.
Forces when like Sonic is literally just running on the sand and it's all automated. I remember that being a weird thing about Knack, actually. I remember Knack for PlayStation 4 was like a release title.
Oh, yeah, game of every year.
Oh
Yeah.
god, the best game ever. I found it so weird how many little basic things were just automated. Like, you'd be going through the level, and then you get to a point where it just switches to a cutscene, and then Knack jumps off a ledge, and it cuts back to in-game. It's like, could I not have just done that myself?
That was like,
That was a terrible
man,
game.
they leaned into that. That was their tech demo to show off what the PS4 could do.
That game fucking sucked. It just wasn't fun.
Ah,
Like, that's
man,
the thing, is like, I
just
know
kinda
that
wonder sometimes.
I don't know if I'm getting this wrong. I hope I'm not. But like, from my understanding from a conversation I had with like Nick and Gilly last night, and again, I don't want to misrepresent what they think or what they say, but it was quite funny because we got into like a discussion of like Sonic Labyrinth versus Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. And kind of like, the thing I was thinking is like, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric is not a technically functioning game, but I'd definitely rather play it than something that's the opposite of fun, like Sonic Labyrinth. And I kind of see it that way with Knack as well. Like, Knack is a perfectly competent game. I'd rather play Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric any day over Knack. Fuck Knack. Knack
Dude,
sucks.
well, yeah, I think the problem with Knack is that from what I can tell, it's functional.
Yeah, it's
but
functional.
It's
boring.
Which is the worst thing a game can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely. My standard is like, I would much rather have a game that's interesting but technically low quality than a game that is just fundamentally boring.
I will play a completely terrible game before I waste my time on a boring one. Which
At least a terrible one gives you something to talk about. A boring one just...
Yeah. Which is why I'm never playing Ultimate Alliance again. Fuck all y'all, you're all wrong. Ultimate Alliance is boring as shit. Okay, moving on to the next topic.
I really hope that, you know, Sonic Frontiers, they've done it well and they stick with this formula going forward. I want them to give Sonic Forces another try in this format, as in like the concept of Robotnik's won and you have to get the world back. I think they're not going to be able to do it the way they did the first time, thank fuck, but I think they'd probably have to go more like the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart route, where it's like you've gone to a dimension where Robotnik's won. But like, I want to see Robotnik take over the world again. I want to see it done well, because that concept was so fucking wasted.
I also enjoyed the Metal Virus saga.
Yeah, do Metal Virus, fuck it, you know? Like, do a Metal Virus game.
Just do the Metal Virus.
Do that. I'm not gay.
You know, you say that. I don't believe you.
You know, it's weird. I swear we go on more tangents when Nick is here.
I think we're infinitely more focused when it's just us. I think I know what it is.
We need to fire Nick. No,
we
love
like
Nick.
disappointing him.
We like to wind him up. We like to ruin his day.
Like the idea of disappointing him is so
Tantalizing.
it's so ingrained in us that if he's here, then we'll do it. But if he's not here, then we're just like, nope, let's do it yet. Let's do it perfect every single time.
But that's the fun of the show, to be honest, though, isn't it? Like, this is
Pissing off Nick?
It's not as fun without pissing off Nick.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's a family thing.
Did we have anything else, like, specifically from this trailer we wanted to touch on?
I've been more talking about the Gamescom footage, like, the stuff that's come from, like, the monitors and stuff, but, like, I basically talked about the trailer, when it came out, so I'm more intrigued to hear what you guys have to say, and then I guess I'll kind of just bounce off of that.
Just where this game is concerned, I am more interested than anything in just what we're going to get when it finally comes out. Because here's the thing, all the stuff we've gotten in fragments, it all looks amazing to me, or something that I can just sleep under the rug. Like, okay, yeah, we have we have levels that are lifted from other levels, but if they're basically just the shrines from Breath of the Wild, I don't care. They could literally all be asset swaps and level lifts from other levels, and I wouldn't care, because they wouldn't take up enough of the game for it to be a thing that I care about or really even notice. If I have to stop playing Sonic Frontiers for, a minute to play a level from Sonic Forces and then go back to Frontiers, that's fine. Because you know what my problem with Frontiers was? Not my problem with Frontiers. My problem with Forces, where that was concerned, the fact that whenever I finished a level, I had to watch the game tell me all of the clothes I had won slowly.
There was that, and I
And
also said, like, people are afraid of cyberspace having Forces level design, and I think it's still a fair criticism. We're not trying to invalidate that at all. At the same time, the way I see it, having a game that is an open world, open zone title that has these little bite-sized levels in it, okay, that's fine. Having a game that is just bite-sized levels, no. Then you got Forces.
yeah, and that's like if they're there as an item for me to experience on top of everything else, fantastic. I'm here for it, 110%. I don't care. I will be happy with what that ultimately is. However, the things that raise alarms for me with this is even looking at the new trailer stuff, the combat system. Maybe it's going to be better because the combat looks a lot more intricate than what we had in, say, Sonic Heroes, but I've never really liked Sonic games that make me spend a lot of time in combat scenarios.
Yeah, I've never liked the health bar enemies in Sonic games, but Sonic Frontiers is kind of a different thing in that regard because the combat is at least a bit more interesting. If I'm just homing attacking, I'm going bonk, 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 bonk. That's not very interesting,
Yeah,
Whereas, like,
and that's
if I'm
kind
doing
of
parries and dodges and I'm doing, fucking, deflections and stuff, different matter.
yeah. If it's something like that, then I'll be more a-okay because at least at that point, I'll have more to do with this system than just dealing with everything. But at the same time, I also haven't seen anything with the game so far that makes me so concerned. Like I've seen some takes on Twitter. They're like, "Well, we're just going to be giving this Sonic game a pass because it looks like it's doing all the things wrong." And I'm like, "This looks like it's doing everything right. Even the things that it's doing that are wrong are being done in such a fundamentally different way. Like the bite-sized levels, that is a wrong thing in Sonic. I said it with Forces, and I'll say it over and over again. I don't like Sonic levels that are too short. I don't like them when they're too long. But if you take the two short ones and you work them in as basically shrines, cool. You've taken the bad thing and executed it better. I'm okay with that. There's enough of this game that looks like it's the things we've seen before, but executed better or at least correctly. I'm okay with that.
I will say there is still a part of me that is pining for another, like, marathon Sonic level, another Eggman Land, I guess. And we're probably not going to get that. If all of the cyberspace stages are bite-sized and the island's the main thing, I can't see the islands providing, like, a strenuous marathon like Eggman Land. I hope we do get something like that somewhere down the line, but this isn't that game. They're not doing that this time. And I accept that,
We do have Nick saying, I really hope we got some Sonic Battle references in that combat. The game isn't perfect, but it made me believe in Sonic combat. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like, it's worth a shot if they can do it well.
It'd be cool if they had cyberspace boss fights and one of them was like ML.
I would not mind that. Because, like, if they did an Emerald boss fight, but Emerald was actually like operating almost like Shadow Link does, because that would be in his character. That's how he operated in Sonic Battle.
Yeah.
He was a simulacrum of everything every other character could do.
The thing is, though, I do think that it said on the control scheme layout thing that some of the levels, some of the controls that were marked in blue, the image quality didn't really show any blue, but some of the controls marked in blue would not be available in cyberspace, and I think what that's basically suggesting is combat is not available
Combat's
in
locked
cyberspace.
away.
Yeah, like that's just locked off behind the main thing. So I mean,
That's fine.
you've got no reason to do that to a poor motor bug, but like, it'd be funny.
It'd be hilarious to do that.
Just be able to wail on just basic badniks, and like they do not explode until you're done wailing on them. That would be amazing. I would love that. Okay, Sonic Frontiers 2, do that.
Definitely, like, I don't have enough red flags. I had a few red flags earlier on, but the more we've seen of the game, it's like there's been red flags, and then as they've been stitched together into the whole fabric of what we're getting, I'm more and more okay with what we're seeing as we go.
The red flags of, yeah, they've turned yellow at the very least, for me.
Yeah. And I'd like to see more. I want to see more of what this game is going to be delivering to us.
I remember how I felt, though, when I first heard that, like, the cyberspace stages would be repeat themes. I just felt like fucking flipping a desk. But, like, seeing it within the context, and again, like, anyone at Sega, if you're paying attention to us fans, don't do it again. Let this be the last time you do this. But, like, you know how it is. Or it could be that maybe that's just the cost of the open world. Like, if they're going to go to the trouble of making us an open world, they can't spend the time making brand new assets for cyberspace. I don't know. If you can do both, do both. I'll be very grateful.
Mm-hmm. And then there was silence.
I'm not.
Wayne, what about you?
I mean, I've mostly said my piece when it comes to like what we've seen so far. I like what I'm looking at. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I'm reserving a lot of my judgment. I don't like reviewing a game until I've played it.
Yeah.
I think is a stance that I've come back to a lot. And I think that's kind of all the thoughts that I have, just based off of like what we've seen up till now.
Right. Well. So whose wife we fucking this week then?
Depends on the super chats. They might have some.
Eggman's.
Hopefully not mine.
Eggman's wife? Does
Not
he
mine
miss his
again.
wife?
Yes.
I want to fuck my wife. Shall we go into super chats?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think
Okay.
that's a thing we can do.
Where are we at? Okay, Mr. Terry Chaos, or Mr. Terry Chows, with 2 licks. REEP 69. Big the cat got sickness for thickness.
Oh my god, we didn't talk about the fact that Big's in the game.
Ah, shit. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, we knew he was gonna be in it, but we've now seen a picture of him, and yeah, he's there.
Yeah, there's a difference between seeing the boy himself.
Yeah, it's good to see him. I like seeing him.
He makes me happy knowing he's back.
You want to?
I like that we have the fishing pole in there. It is really funny to me how much the narrative has changed from like it was the easy meme thing to say that like, oh god,
Big.
Big the cat, who thought it would be a good idea to have a fishing minigame in Sonic? It's like the most generic thing you could possibly say about Sonic Adventure.
And now
like,
we want him back.
Now we all want it back.
So in Sonic Frontiers 2, can we get Werehog as well? Like,
I mean,
Sure.
honestly,
Sure, why not?
especially, dude, like that's not a bad idea.
Like,
Like
I'm-
honestly, it might fit better in that kind of format than it did in Unleashed.
the thing is, I'm all for it until they say, okay, now we're gonna get classic Sonic as well. I'm like, no, boo. We've had enough of that. Keep him in his own games.
Yeah.
Jesus. So the next one we have is from Astonishing Red for $4.99. Not gonna lie, that November release date for Frontiers worries me. Sega wants to push the game out before Christmas, regardless of what state the game is in. I want to say that I am worried about that. However, 2 things. One, we are in a world now where games release unfinished all the time, and that should not be the case. We shouldn't, be conditioned
It's
to
a
expect
problem
that.
with the industry at large, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a huge industry issue that we've been dealing with for a while now, but we have been dealing with it for a while. I'm getting numb to the fact that things will release unfinished sometimes, if not many times. Not to mention, we don't know how long the game has realistically been in development.
Yeah,
we
and
know
it's already
that-
been delayed once.
Yeah, so because we don't know how long it's actually been in development, and this is just a thing that happens in the industry all the time now, and I've just gotten numb to it. I'm not too worried about that. I should be, realistically, I should be, but I'm just not.
And I honestly, I'll take a game like coming out and needing to be patched up, and stuff retroactively over developers being forced into crunch. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
if that's what if that's what has to happen.
on top of all that as well, I would definitely like. I mean, I have to have the game in hand to really determine whether or not it's in a releasable state, because the only thing I'm seeing right now is just the object popping. And it's like, yeah, they could polish up the animations, but how much difference does that
What
make?
open world, and like what open world game doesn't have pop in?
I'm not really very experienced in open world, so I can't comment. Like, that might just be part of the course. I mean, Spider-Man's an open world game, isn't it? I don't really see any popping in Spider-Man. If there is, I didn't
True,
notice
but
it.
you also you're also zoomed in a lot closer most of the time than you would be with like Sonic.
And that's another
so
thing.
there's,
Also,
like,
There's
it's
a-
also a city. You can hide Poppin behind buildings.
There's an FOV setting on Sonic Frontiers as well, where you can like zoom the camera in and stuff. Like, so it might even be that you can actually just crop out all of the pop-in. But at least it's not as bad as it was in like the first World Showcase demo, where it was like, you know, he would stomp on the ground and the rocks would literally appear under him. There's no more of that from what I've seen, at least. That was terrible.
well, that was the thing. It was like they literally showed off a beta build of the game, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So it's
literally,
like
things were just appearing like 1 meter away from Sonic, like the entire time. Like, it was ridiculous.
I do not understand why the hell they marketed it the way that they did.
Yeah, that early marketing is so weird.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
It's weird how much things stepped up. Like, the perfect thing to, like, show would have been, like, that little Japanese trailer. You know, where, like, he's running on the landscapes and stuff. That would have been quite good to show.
But next one looks like it's you, Wayne.
All right. Shoot, where are we at?
The Super Guy 55.
Okay, yeah, we got Super Guy 55, 449 licks. After reusing levels and themes for so many years, it's frustrating, especially now that it's a literal level design. Franchise used to be so original. Yeah, I don't know. Is it like
It's just the
isn't it
first...
just that it's linear? It's
No,
gonna look
it's
similar.
The first level, 1-1, the Green Hill, has literally
Yeah.
got an identical layout to Windmill Isle Act 1 from Sonic Unleashed. Like, identical.
okay.
Impossible
I think I saw
to
that-
avoid. Like,
I think I saw that comparison, and I was just like, when I see the characters like moving around differently and they're like turning corners at different points and stuff like that, I'm like, that's not 1-to-1 the same thing.
I've seen some good, like, defenses for doing that in, like, a tutorial stage and stuff. And, like, you know, we'll see it when we see it. It depends how many cyberspace stages there are and how much they're doing it. I know that people have said, oh, yes, but Sky Sanctuary is also the same as Apotos Act 2, and Green Hill Act 2 is the same as Green Hill Act 2 from Generations. They're not. They're just using similar parts. I kind of get the Chemical Plant one, where it appears to be a lot of, like, just Chemical Plant from Sonic Generations with all the 2D stuff cut out. But, like, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm not going to really go to bat to defend reusing the level designs and stuff. But, like, in fairness, different is different. I'm seeing some differences. And, yeah, I don't know. And as it is, it's a side thing. But, like, at the same time, yeah, I would... The thing is, I can't call it devoid of originality because the open zones, and we haven't even seen all of them. So, like, yeah, that's just kind of my stance on that.
Yeah, I'd be a lot harsher on it. And again, a lot of it is like we've seen a glimpse of what's on offer here, and that's including like cyberspace levels. So it's like if we want to like make deeper comparisons once those are all out, I think that's going to be interesting. And there's probably a larger discussion to be had once we've got all the factors on the table. But as of right now, it's also just kind of like, yeah.
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 Yeah. Mike
Yeah.
1911 sends $1.99. Meta is only good if it's from Red versus Blue.
Oh, the meta.
Oh, that's
Man,
a-
I haven't thought about Red versus Blue in a while.
Red versus Blue is
It's
something
been a
I-
while
I
since I
think
thought about
I
that.
used to watch
Yeah.
a little bit of that when I was in like secondary school, which is like middle school to you guys.
Man, I bought the fucking DVDs for that shit back in the day.
Rooster Teeth were huge back in the day, weren't they?
Yeah,
They still are. Like Ruby is a thing.
Ruby's really successful. I
Yeah,
think that's kind of their cash cow now. That's
it is.
Oh, it's called Ruby. I've been
yeah,
calling it Rawby this entire time.
it's called Ruby, like the main character.
I haven't seen
Which
it. That's why I didn't get it right.
ah man, it's a series. I am like deeply attached to it for personal reasons. A lot of them center around
Women.
Monty Owen being a big inspiration for me. But the show is very mixed in its quality.
I think the show it's that show is worse in the beginning from a technical standpoint, but better from a
Writing.
execution. No, the writing's horrible.
Oh.
Execution.
Writing is bad.
No, from like
Yeah.
animation, the execution of like choreography. It's
Mhm.
amazing in the beginning. That's like the big thing. And then later on, the writing gets much better, the narrative gets much better, but the execution of the choreography goes downhill basically around the time we lost Monty with
Dude.
that series.
Dude, Cirrus, you and I need to get on one day on your stream, and we need to just have like a Ruby discussion because I think it's a really interesting series to talk about. Here's not the place for it necessarily, but like I definitely want
No,
to talk shop with
Wayne.
that with you.
Here is totally the place for it. This is now a Ruby podcast.
You
Oh,
have a super chat to read, Cirrus.
I do. For Mr. Krabs, thank you for $4.99. Oh no, it's the beginning of the next chapter.
No, they've been,
Wayne.
he's been off with this for a while.
Alrighty, I'm going to bed. Big the cat. Good night. Why is Big here? Good night, Wallace. Tangle and Whisper both. Good night, Wallace. Wayne goes, stop. Why does Wayne want them to stop just saying good
His
night?
harem's getting out of control now.
Is that your harem?
I'm still
includes
waiting for the
Big
return
cat?
of. I'm waiting for the return of Republican Homer.
You want a Republican Homer?
No, okay. So basically, we were discussing this last night on Nick's stream, like between me, Gilly, and Trey. One of the things that we did on one of my live streams, me and Trey, was when we were playing the Homer mod in Sonic Adventure 2, we were just doing Homer impressions for like 20 minutes, and Homer got progressively more Republican the entire time. So, like, yeah, it just became a joke of like Republican Homer. And Mr. Krabs has said that Republican Homer will be like the main villain of the Wallace Saga Season 2.
I never consented to any of this.
Linda. Burger.
Okay. Moving right along, we got Smecco with 5 ballpoint pens. Wishful thinking, the islands are cyberspace. If the SA Pink Flicky Island itself
Finds itself.
finds itself on it, could we get Gamma out of its head to materialize on them? What?
We could maybe use
Wait,
it to
what?
bring back Gamma, maybe?
I think that's the idea. I don't know. Gamma's dead. The robot is dead. The bird was freed. That's kind of where that story needed to end. I love Gamma, but bringing him back would kind of
Kind of how I feel about Shadow.
denote. Yeah. Don't Shadow the Hedgehog Gamma.
That's when he gets his own spin-off game and is like, "This is who I am." He's got a gun, even though he already has a gun. He's just holding a gun with his other hand. Man's got a Glock. Okay, so. Go Kenji with 5 CHF. What do you guys think will be the DLCs in Frontiers? And what will you do if the game sliders change things only that there isn't a change at all? Well, I'll be disappointed if the game sliders don't change anything, but I just hope the rest of the game is good.
I would prefer if the game doesn't have DLC for the first 2 years, because that would mean there's at least enough content in the game to warrant us not having to have DLC for the first 2 years. But I know for a fact we don't live in that world.
Yeah, that gets me thinking. What do you guys think of the pathetic digital deluxe for Sonic Frontiers?
Oh, I don't know that I've seen it. What's included?
What you get in there is basically skill points and memory tokens and Chaos Emerald keys.
Already fuck off.
And you also get a digital art book and a soundtrack, a mini soundtrack. They say so. The digital art book is okay, But stuff like the tokens and stuff is stuff you can just earn in-game any fucking way. And then it's like, oh yeah, I'm paying extra, I can complete the game faster. Brilliant.
Dude, I think
Yeah.
any integration of the digital storefront into the structure of video games was a giant fucking mistake.
I hate
You know,
how
and-
aggressive Sega have been recently with their digital deluxes.
I think that all digital storefronts in games, especially single player games, need to die, burn, be gone forever. And I need to rewrite history so that the mobile gaming market never became what it is, because mobile gaming and the microtransaction model that League of Legends uses are directly responsible for this current state of affairs. And I wish that more games used the League of Legends model, because it's one of the only non-predatory microtransaction models that exists, period.
I'm going to I'm gonna go ahead and say though, the Sonic Frontiers Digital Deluxe is a better practice than the Sonic Origins and Sonic Colors Ultimate Digital Deluxes. And the reason I'll say why is it's a bigger waste of money, yes, but Sonic Colors Ultimate literally took parts of the soundtrack and paywalled them. Sonic Origins took little tiny parts of the menu screens and paywalled them. This is at least just currency. Like, you know, it's not like they just trimmed off a tiny little piece of the game and said you buy that extra. It's a currency thing. I think that's better because at least I can just ignore it entirely.
That said, the next one we have here is from Crimson Rose. Thank you for the $5. The first 3D adventure style Sonic game since 06 looks really promising. Fun fact, Sonic 06 was my first Sonic game.
And you're still here today, so how bad can it be?
No, we're done with that logic. I'm out.
And then we've got Mr. Krabs with $1.99. Anytime a temple is mentioned, Wayne, excited scream.
We haven't seen a single temple so far.
I want. I don't know how you're gonna give me this giant open world.
Why did you
with,
ever
like,
assume there would
mentioning
be temples?
you're mentioning stuff like the ancients and all. I want temples.
The
Give me temples.
ancients were. That's the thing I actually wanted to point out. The ancients, the first Sonic game to talk about the ancients was Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, and I always just want to note that Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric had temples in it.
Yeah.
Play it.
At what frame rate should we be playing it? 3? 4?
Get it on an emulator and have a good old time. No, but I do remember when the announcement trailer came out, and like a lot of us were just like, "Oh wow, it's Sonic running," and I remember Wayne on Twitter just like, "Holy fuck, Sonic going to temples? I'm down." I was like, now it's like we're deep into the hype cycle and we haven't seen a single fucking temple.
I'm so upset.
I feel so bad for the guy.
I just want temples.
Come here, Wallace.
I want Sonic in temples. It's one of the best like environments to have that little hedgehog in.
Come here, Wallace. I'm gonna give you a little kiss.
I'm gonna punch you.
No, you're not. I like that.
Well, then
All
I guess we'll both be happy at the end of the day.
Don't
Well,
threaten me
Pup,
with
you
a
got the
good
next
time.
one.
Hey, Jelly Lord, with $5. I'm fine with he bite-sized levels, as they are just this game's shrines. I just don't understand why they had to reuse level layouts from Gens and Unleashed. I think it's just gonna be a one-level thing, honestly.
I'm gonna be honest. I think if they're reusing a lot of stuff from Gens and Unleashed, the reason is going to be time. It is literally them going, let's put something in this game that fans of every other type of Sonic game will be able to enjoy. That, yes, it probably will be a lot of reused stuff, but reusing that stuff as like a thing you're adding in after 2 or 3 hours of being in the open world as like a small break from that, that's fine. There's nothing that's really terribly egregious about that, honestly. The real reason is, if you think about the open world for Frontiers, how many times are you going to retraverse the same area in Frontiers? Probably a lot, right? Because you're going to walk around the open world and you're going to be looking for shit. New enemies are going to spawn in different locations. You're going to have to make your way from point A to point B of the map a handful of times. There's going to be some backtracking.
I mean,
There is no backtracking in an A to B linear level. Reusing that stuff when you're not making that the bulk of the game, it only makes sense. It's a thing the player's only going to experience for a quarter second.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'll say this: it's the difference between a level being new and a level being a reskin. But, again, the only evidence I've really seen of a level being entirely repurposed was 1-1. I haven't seen it with everything.
The
else.
Windmill Isle one.
Yeah, everything else appears to take clear moments and set pieces from previous Sonic games, but I'm not seeing any outright level lifting. And
Yeah.
like the thing is, truthfully, like, I think, you know, the idea of, like, on paper, the concept of, oh, it's an open world Sonic game and you can play through older levels as like a side mission, not the worst idea in the world.
Can I
just
I
don't want them
word
to
what
abuse that, you know?
Can I word what I think this game is going to be to some people in a way that will make sense, but also be really frustrating for others?
Go on.
It'll just be Sonic Generations with a really big hub world.
That, you've made that sound 10 times less interesting.
Yes, but is it not inaccurate at this point? Like,
Well,
obviously,
no,
there's
not
going to be
really,
more to
because,
do in the
like,
hub world.
Not really, because, like, again, it's not a hub world. Like,
No, it's not a hub world. I'm just saying that, like, if you need to look at it a certain way to just like justify some of the reuse stuff, then that's how I would look at
well,
it.
no,
is
that
we
would
have
not.
a-
That would do the opposite of justify. It would be 10 times better if it's just viewing those as like little side quests in a bigger picture open zone. Serious, that's a terrible idea, man. Shut up.
That's why I'm not head of marketing, but you shut up.
You shut up.
Your
Shut up,
face.
Serious. Fuck you, you bitch.
That's
Fuck
our
you.
sign. We need to move right along and wrap things up here pretty
Jesus.
soon.
Wayne, we've had a relatively bullshit-free episode. Stop complaining. Anyways, yeah, go ahead. Who's up?
I think it's Cirrus with Jerome.
Yes, I just got spooked by Growlithe barking. Jerome McCullough, thank you for the €2. What looks more impressive, Frontiers or Ratchet PS5?
Ratchet
Good
PS5,
question.
but I'm looking forward to Frontiers nevertheless.
It's a good question because I don't
Yeah.
care
Visual
about Ratchet.
So I loved Rift Apart. I think that's a fantastic.
I want to
like,
fuck the female Lombax.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think Rift Apart is a great game. I care less and less about comparing games in terms of their use of particle effects and base visual prowess so much more nowadays.
So there
It's
was a thing that I read in a very old gaming magazine, and it reads as absolutely fucking stupid nowadays to me, but I guess it made sense for when it came out, and it kind of piggybacks off what you were saying, Wayne. So it was when Resident Evil 1 came out on the PlayStation. And there was an honest to God conversation that like one of the defining factors between enjoyment of the PlayStation versus the N64 is going to be whether you would spend more time with Resident Evil or Mario 64. And those were the two go-to comparisons there.
They're completely incomparable games as well, aren't
as-
they? Like,
Yeah, as a like looking at it, I'm just like, wait, hold on. Why those two?
I know that I think gaming in the Clinton years literally made like a video on like Super Mario 64 versus Resident Evil, like as a which game should you buy kind of thing.
It's weird because it's like at least with Sonic and Ratchet, those are both like
They're both Scrimblows.
animal
They're
mascot
Scrimblow
platformers.
platformer game, yeah.
Yeah, so like I can at least understand a bit of a comparison there.
The real question is,
Um,
should you buy Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric or Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart? Because they're more comparable. Like, Sonic Boom is just a very low... Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric is just a very low-quality Ratchet and Clank clone.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. I think especially if we're talking in terms of like visual performance. So Spider-Man 2 released, obviously after the first movie tie-in game, and graphically looks significantly worse but it was also doing a lot more with its hardware in terms of like having an actual open world city you could move around in.
It was a
and
more
like,
impressive game. Like,
yeah, exactly. It didn't look as good, but it was a more impressive.
But it was
title.
more.
Yeah. And I don't think Ratchet and I don't think Rift Apart and Sonic Frontiers need to be really indirect.
the main
like,
thing I was kind of looking at, I guess, was like Ratchet and Clank has really, really, really nice, really seamless character animations. Sonic Frontiers' animations aren't the worst thing I've ever seen, but there's a lack of animation blending. Like, there's several moments in, like, the story trailer even, where he's, like, bouncing from wall to wall, and he goes from his flying pose to his clinging onto the wall pose with zero transition. It's just quick pose to pose to pose. But then again, at the same time, Klonoa. The Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series has some of the worst animation blending I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. But it's one of the best games I've ever fucking played. So, like, you know, who fucking cares, you know?
Yeah.
Depends if the game's good or not.
All right. Next on the super chats, we've got David Crespo
Didn't you
with
read
$1.
last?
No. That was Cyrus Red Jerome.
Yeah, I
Are you
read Jerome.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
I had it highlighted.
I'm having a stroke, it seems.
And then we got we got David Crespo with $1.99. Sonic Channel Twitter posted Eggman's nudes today.
Don't tell me that, because you know I'm going to look for it.
He was eating rainbow ice cream.
I want to see it.
I mean, it's up there, so
Is it?
you can go find it yourself, man.
Sonic Channel.
This man's not gay. Remember that.
I'm not gay. I just want to see Eggman's nudes.
He likes Tibby, and Eggman has big
On
Tibby.
Twitter.com.
Where is Sonic Channel? Does it
I
mean
don't-
the official... Oh, I know what it is. It's not a nude. He's just wearing his... He's just wearing his swimming trunks. I want to see some pingus, man. Fuck. Okay.
That's some false advertising.
Yeah, that is false advertising. All right, God, lying, man, lying in a super chat. God. Right.
Eggman gay confirmed. Imagine ever thinking this was not the case.
Damnable's BP Paris sends $2. Yay for egging on Nick. Hell yeah.
Eggman was able to spend a lot of time with Rouge without ever going off. I'm pretty sure. we
Nah, I think they were fucking when you were in the shadow levels. They were fucking.
know. Jesus Christ. The next one we have is for from Crimson Rose. Thank you for the $5. My mom bought me Sonic 06 when I first got my 360. It's the Platinum Hits version too. Don't judge me. I was 8.
And you're still here watching the Sonic podcast. You must still like Sonic, huh? You weren't immediately alienated. How bad can the game be? Wayne.
Anyway, we got OzJam H with $5. The Chad Titan yeeting Sonic into pillar and a wall versus the Virgin Infinite just teleporting in a kick into a wall. Do kind of hope he's in, but oh well.
I do hope
Oh,
that
and Infinite
returns, but I don't think it's going to be this game.
If they don't do something with like the Phantom Ruby or Infinite with the way Sage is like designed and appears,
Then it
I
just
feel like
is-
it's a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do. But
And
then
it's
again,
just going to be a game made by Sonic Team.
there could still be some surprises, but like I don't know. But like yeah, it was quite cool seeing the Titan straight up throwing Sonic through the pillars. Like he was throwing him through the towers. I was like, holy fuck, Man of Steel.
I am down. I am kind of hoping for something with Infinite, just because I am down if they want to make me like Infinite as a character.
It's a cool design.
I want to like him, but Forces makes that impossible.
Yeah. Mr. Krabs
He's not weak.
with $1.99. Anyway, I'm hoping Frontier has any dinosaurs in the game. That'd be kind of cool if they had like a dinosaur island.
I'm sure Nick is as well.
Serious?
He's gonna try to run with the Velociraptors.
He's gonna dino come.
From the Tajelli Lord, thank you for the $5. Green Hill and Chemical Plant that we've seen is literally their generations versions with the 2D cutout. Pup, it is safe to assume there will be more.
They're not exact. I'm only saying what I've seen. Like I might be wrong, might be when I play the game, but I'm not necessarily going to go into like a debate about it. But like I'm just saying what I've seen. Either way, with the 2D cutout, sounds better.
Yeah. Then we've got Phoenix with 5 Ligmas. Sonic fans studying English and learning about metaphors.
Sonic fans logging into Facebook and finding out that Mark Zuckerberg is pushing Meta.
Okay.
Meta's so fucking cringe so far, man. Like,
Look at the great graphics in our big NFT world.
it's like
Wait.
playing Sim City, except it's more expensive and shit. Zygarde Lagan sends $5. I got back from day 1 of BotCon. I got a lot of cool toys. They got a BotCon? No way.
Talking about the Transformers convention.
I'm guessing, but when you say BotCon, I tend to think like it's like a convention, but there's no real people there. They're all just bots. Like
Wouldn't it be
naked
funny?
HD
It's a convention,
XYZ.
but it's just
It's the sex
yeah.
bots.
It's just the sex bots.
Even you can get laid.
Even me?
You're just like, hey, can I get an autograph? Even you can get laid.
Oh my god! Thank you so much. That makes me so happy. I never would have guessed. Even me. Infamous.jpg. Thank you for the 199. Isn't the bird Gamma? Okay, that was a.
Yeah, so basically saying the bird can return basically after flying out of Gamma's
Uh,
head.
Yeah, I like to think that Gamma as the robot sort of had like, because I think it had like glimpses of the will of the Flicky, but I like to think that the artificial intelligence within the Badnik actually kind of was its own being outside of the Flicky and sacrificed itself to give the Flicky another chance to live.
It's
I think-
Superior Spider-Man.
Yeah,
The Flicky
exactly.
is Peter. The Flicky is Peter Parker. Gamma is Doc Ock.
It might be more accurate to say that the Gamma was just the Flicky, but I like to think that if we're taking the artificial intelligence into consideration there, it could potentially be just a little bit deeper, depending on how much you want to
Ooh.
reach into it.
Any-
But I'm not saying that is the canon way. I'm just saying that's kind of how I interpreted it.
Any erotica artists, I've got a challenge for you. Do Gamma and the Flicky. And Gamma's just like, I need you inside of me and stuff like that, you know? Make a
Alright.
Gamma porn comic with the Flicky. Okay, so Zygarde Ligan sends $2. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to reveal my gender. You still haven't revealed your gender. It was on
They
Nick's stream
actually-
last night and we were trying to figure out what the right pronouns were.
They actually just did another super chat with $2 saying I am a boy. So
Spoilers.
Dude,
Okay.
we're not at that point yet, you
I don't
fuckface.
care. I don't care.
No, you fucking spoiled it, shithead. I was looking forward to the fucking reveal.
Done.
No, you can't
It's
just
done.
delete it. You've already said it. Fuck you.
So that we don't read it again.
Fuck you. Get ready.
Anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick us up for the Jam H. Thank you for the $10. Oh yeah, I forgot. Knuckles' voice actor is confirmed to be the one from Team Sonic Racing, as he apparently confirmed in a now deleted tweet from him. Thoughts on that? Note direction does matter for voice actor, even good ones.
He sounds very similar to, I think it was Travis Willingham. So listen, I'm pretty indifferent, just as long as they have good material to work with. Like, you know, I never thought any of the Sonic voice actors were bad as such, and I don't entirely buy the whole direction makes all the difference thing, because I think Roger Craig Smith himself has kind of refuted that and said, like, the way it goes is I get the lines, and then I basically read off, like, a dozen versions of them, and then they pick which one they want, effectively. They said there's not really, like, a director in the studio saying, now do it like this.
I don't think that there's a I don't think that there's a set rule for that. I think that direction does matter, but a talented actor can kind of pick up the slack for poor direction. You ever played like, just for an example of where direction matters even if the voice actor has talent? You ever play Metroid Other Rim?
Mm-mm.
The
Yeah,
baby.
exactly.
The baby. The baby.
Oh god.
How many times do you think she recorded that line, Wayne? How many times?
I don't want to think about it.
The baby.
Too damn many, that's for sure.
The
Oh
baby.
god. Well, we got Mr. Krabs with $4.99. 5 weeks later, Wayne. Finally, I can pay off the Vector child support. Republicans Homer appear. Homer, sorry, but you can't do that. Yoink.
Wayne, you're good at voices. Can you do a Homer impression?
No.
Can you try?
No.
I'll do one with you if you want.
No.
Sorry, but you can't do that. Yoink.
I don't have a lot to go off of. I've seen like maybe 3 episodes of The Simpsons. I'm not a Simpsons fan.
Dare. Okay, Crimson Rose with $2. Which console are y'all gonna play Frontiers on? I am going to get it on PlayStation 5 and probably Switch.
I'm just getting on PC.
Yeah, I'm getting on PS5.
So Cirrus is officially a pussy.
I have a gaming PC. I'm gonna play it on the
I
thing that's
also
gonna
have
be able
a
to push it
gaming
furthest.
PC. I can play Spider-Man on mine, so therefore I'll most definitely be able to play Sonic Frontiers on it.
Filthy console gaming peasants.
Don't you understand? I can swap my RAM out for an orange.
Fucking hell.
Where are we at now?
We are on Danimal's BP.
No, we're
No.
not. Oh, no,
Yeah,
we are.
yeah,
we
we
are.
are.
Yeah, it's you. It's you with the animals.
Daminal's BP. Para, thank you very much for the $5. I feel like Infinite has a valid origin story when you really delve into it. Unfortunately, Pontac told it really badly, and the execution was rushed. There is a bit of a
origin are we
marked
talking?
difference.
Are we talking the one in the main story or the one in episode Shadow? Because they both retcon each other.
No, I think we're talking about the origin that we got in the IDW comics.
Oh, that okay.
Because that is the version of that story that is not touched by Pontac.
Ah, okay. Also, Graf, don't let Graf get off scot-free. I don't know what he did. I don't know. I don't know. It took 2 people to come up with that shit.
Like, all I'm saying is, you don't look at Happy Tree Friends and go, this is a literary masterpiece. I'm going to hire them to write Sonic the Hedgehog.
I mean, the thing is, there is such a thing as, like, versatility, but, like, they haven't really proven much in that regard. I mean, we'll see how Ian Flynn does, because it could be that maybe the writing in Sonic Frontiers ends up being complete toilet as well, in which case, Sega is the problem.
I was reading through the comment section on the Frontiers trailer. Not the Frontiers trailer, the part about Eggman, where it was the cutscene with him talking about like all the different stuff there. And a person said that, like, wow, this Eggman is really showing what Ian can do with the character. Noting that, like, you know, Eggman's being a lot more methodical, a lot more scientific as opposed to boisterous Saturday morning villain. And the very first comment under it was just big oof in quotation marks. And I'm just like, this community, it just does this.
Who's up?
I
Wayne.
think it's me with Mr. Krabs, $1.99. Wayne, hey, that my money. Homer, you mean my money.
You mean my money.
I don't know what the story is even supposed
I'm
to be
going
here,
to
man.
buy donuts
Like,
and go to Moe's. Ozjam H sends $4.99. Puppet was a different guy called a guy named Different Mitchell. It's the guy called Different Mitchell. That would be brilliant. Instead of Travis. And he sounded rough in that game. That's why I'm a little worried. I found I got used to the new voices in Team Sonic Racing pretty quickly. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Alright, Wayne. You're up with... No, you're not.
no, I'm not.
Cirrus is up with the final one from Mr. Krabs.
Thank you for the $4.99, Mr. Krabs. Wayne, it's my money, Republican Homer. Nah, now get back to work, peasants.
You're in your element.
So I
with
can...
Republican Homer, man. Go on.
Nah, get back to work, peasants, so I can pay you later. That's right, Wayne, you wage slave.
And then we got as JMH with $1.99, David Mitchell.
He's different, Mitchell.
David.
It's different, Mitchell.
No, do you guys
Different
know who David
Mitchell.
Mitchell is?
No.
He's a British comedy man.
If they're a
Oh, yeah.
comedian, I probably don't care about them.
Wow, Wayne, you're so weird. Anyways, well, that wraps up the show, everybody. So we'll go around the table. Nick, what? Oh, okay. We'll do one more super chat because it's quite a hefty.
Yeah,
one.
no more super chats after this.
Yeah, so super chat cut off. Okay, Danimals BP Para sends $20. I'm talking about EP Shadow. Shadow killed his squad, and after he tried to avenge them, only to get humiliated by Shadow, after gaining power to surpass him, he would try and inflict the same pain he was given to the world. Yeah, that is a fair point. It's just kind of fucking handicapped by the whole "I am not weak" thing. And then we got Nizand with $5. I'll say it again for a super chat, but I do think the upgrades we get for Sonic Speed are going to be important to how much fun we can have. Yeah, I certainly think so too. But now we're definitely doing a super chat cutoff. If you super chat now, it will have to be saved for like the next episode.
Nick.
Right, so round the table.
Eris,
Nick.
why do you always read Mr. Krabs' chats like you're auditioning for a high school
Because
play?
he's writing a high school play, Nick.
Oh my god.
Right, so Nick, what are you up to? Like, what's going on your channel? Boy, you sure said a mouthful, huh? Suris, what about you? Suris, what about you?
Cyrus? Okay. Anyway,
Damn it,
so,
Wayne, you weren't supposed to say anything.
Yeah, I got shit to do, Cyrus. Fuck you.
Yeah, we want to
All
go,
right.
man. Oh, fuck's sake. Here he is. He's here for the rent. Okay, Cyrus, what are you up to?
I'm currently here on Sunset City.
Oh, just fucking be quick. We all want to go to bed.
Well, currently nothing for the next week as I've got a channel strike, so I'm literally not doing shit.
Well, poop.
Do we know what Nick is working on at the moment?
He said new speed reading compilation shortly.
Hey, there you go. So,
And yeah, that about wraps things up. Good night, everybody. I'm just gonna skip
excuse
you,
you.
Wayne.
Yeah,
No, Wayne, what are you doing? What are you doing?
So I'm actually making some pretty steady progress on the Digimon World Review. The script is coming along nicely. It turns out this is going to be the largest single video I've ever put together. This is an enormous project, and I'm finally going to beat out the length of my Spider-Man PS4 video that I didn't even like all that much. And then I'm also going to put out a poll, but I've been doing some thinking. I might be skipping or taking a break from Metroid Month this year. And trying to focus up on catching up on some other reviews that I've been meaning to get to. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Alrighty then. And me, well, I party and I dance and I do in my pants and just do my regular thing. You know, I'm just, on my channel I'm currently doing a lot of Sonic Frontiers coverage, but I want to do some more evergreen stuff as well. So I really appreciate if you guys would come check it out. I do some shit, you know, like pop culture stuff, you know how it is. Get on over here and give me money. And that about wraps up the show. Any last words?
I don't think so.
Alrighty then. Well,